Hey, what is up, everyone? I am going to launch into the next series of trainings on managing the other bottleneck in your commercial real estate business and how to grow, which is deal flow. We've done other trainings on how to grow your OPM factor, which is other people's money, positioning yourself to raise capital by growing your network, changing your identity with your sphere of influence, all that good stuff. But you could have all the capital in the world. If you do not have healthy deal flow, then you are going to be out of business quickly. I've been in a position before where I had a healthy amount of OPM, had poor deal flow, and I was in a position of trying to force fit deals to work because I wasn't able to cherry pick the best opportunities. And I've tried to raise capital that I warmed up with my sphere of influence for mediocre deals or not so great deals, very difficult to raise the capital for. When you have healthy deal flow, that work that you put in to growing that OPM database will allow you for opportunities for the capital to virtually raise itself. It's like magic, all right? It's how I was able to buy a $1.5 million deal, had to buy it in all cash, called up one of my investors. I had that capital raised in 2 weeks, $1.5 million, because it was a great opportunity. I've been on the flip side of it in terms of an opportunity that wasn't that great, and it was crickets involved with it. So this is why it is of paramount importance. So this is going to be a 3-part training. So summary of this is there are 3 primary channels for deal flow. All right. I'm going to talk about 3 of them right now, just at a high level in order of speed to lead, right? From short life cycle from contact to the longest life cycle. And what I'm about to tell you is going to be a little counterintuitive, but let me explain. All right. The first primary deal flow is through commercial real estate brokers, off-market deals through commercial real estate brokers. That's what we're going to be covering today in this training in terms of how to develop those relationships, how to find commercial real estate brokers and position yourself to be in front of off-market deals before they ever hit the market, right? The second channel, which I'm going to cover in a future training, is other real estate investors, all right? You may be a residential real estate investor that's looking to scale into larger deals. That network of other investors, residential investors that are out there, grinding, trying to find deals is a great lead source for you for commercial real estate deals because you're going to be one of the only people in your market that is focused in this segment of larger commercial deals. So I'm going to explain on how to cultivate those relationships, how to work them intentionally on the next training, right? The third deal source, which takes the longest, is direct to seller. Sounds counterintuitive. A lot of residential real estate investors that specialize in direct mail and cold calling and all that sort of thing think that direct to seller is the best source for off-market deals, and it may apply to residential, but not commercial. All right. So those are the 3. Today, we're going to talk about commercial real estate brokers and how to position yourself to get off-market deals before they hit the market in broad and where you start having to compete or you just have deals that are just complete trash. All right. All right. So why are commercial real estate brokers the primary channel with the shortest amount of lead time? Commercial brokers are working with motivated sellers. Okay. This is more savvy, or these are more savvy property owners that own maybe, let's say, 10, 20, 50, 100 unit apartment communities, industrial buildings, mixed use buildings, retail strip plazas, and that sort of thing. They know that if they want to get a good price and also want to get it under contract with somebody that has a high probability of closing, because the contract fallout rate with commercial is much higher than residential, then they hire a commercial real estate broker. All right. This is not a little old lady that that's motivated to sell because she can't take care of our house anymore. Right. We're not dealing in a product segment where, people are, struggling to keep the roof over their head. So you come in as the savior and with a cash offer and able to close quickly. There's a lot less of that in the commercial real estate space. All right. So how do commercial real estate brokers work? It's in stages and it's very counterintuitive. Most residential realtors, when they get a listing agreement signed, They put it in the MLS and blast it out to get full market exposure, right? To get as many buyers out there as possible seeing this property and aware of it. Commercial real estate brokerage is a little bit different. They get a listing agreement signed and they bring it out to people that they know, like, and trust to run this deal by them before it hits popular commercial listing websites like LoopNet and Crexy. Why do they do that? Why wouldn't they want to get broad market exposure right off the bat? And the reason is very simple. The volume of transactions that happen in the commercial real estate space is much less than residential. Just think about it, right? There's a lot less commercial properties in your market than there are single family and small residential, right? There's not more Walmarts in your area than there are, let's say, single family houses. It's just a fact. So that being said, commercial real estate brokers have to survive on a lot less of deal flow from a lead standpoint. And they may be putting together 2, 3, 4, 5 bigger deals a year. So they don't have a lot of a diversification in terms of deals falling out of contract. And if they put a deal together with a buyer that they don't know, like, and trust, then their family might not eat if that property falls out of contract. All right. So commercial real estate brokers are very, very interested in having a high degree of control over the outcome of that transaction. So before they put the property on the market, they'll go to what I call the A, B, and C list, right? This is just something I've noted. It's anecdotal. If you tell a real estate broker, hey, what can I do to be on your A list or your B list or your C list? They're just not going to understand what you're talking about. But being a former real estate broker myself, this is kind of what I've learned through my experience out there, right? So what is the A list? The A list is people that they know, like, and trust, that they've done deals with before, and that they just have a good relationship with. All right. So they will bring the property out to those people first, right? They have a high degree of confidence. They've closed deals with them before. They kind of know what how the buyers tick during this, during the whole transaction process and that sort of thing, right? If they can't find a suitable buyer from that pool, then they'll go to what I call their B list. The B list is people that they know, like, and trust out in the marketplace that have contacted them before with a specific type of request. Like, I'm looking to buy a 20 to 40 unit apartment community or a 10,000 to 15,000 square foot retail strip plaza. This is my budget, and blah, 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 blah. And that, that's the B list, right? Brokers do cooperate, like, in terms of offering out cooperating compensation to other brokers, but they'd like to avoid it if they can, right? If they can actually control both sides of the deal by having the relationship with the seller and also the buyer, there is a higher degree of probability of closing, and also they get paid, they get paid more as a result of that, right? They're doing less transactions per year, so cooperation is a lot less prevalent in commercial than it is in residential. The C list is when they've exhausted A and B, they'll bring the deal out to their other broker colleagues that, hey, John, I'm bringing a property out to market in a couple of weeks. Before I did so, I'd like to give you, to give you guys a crack at it. Do you have anybody looking, for a 20 to 40 unit apartment community in Penfield, New York? All right. So this is brokers that they have relationships with, that they like working with, and they may sell it this way, right? So after they've exhausted A, B, and C lists, then they drop it into LoopNet and Crexy, those commercial listing platforms, right? This is the reason why there's a running joke that Crexy and LoopNet is where commercial real estate deals go to die, or it's the trash bin of commercial real estate deals. All right. So that's why when everybody's picked over this deal, there's an active player in the market. Nobody wants it. Nobody could sell, no broker could sell it to their clients that are active in this space. So they drop it onto there. Right. So that's really where, when you go to these websites, you're like, oh my God, that's so overpriced, or the thing is completely hammered and it's a bad location, all of that stuff. Right. But you have to understand that 70% of the, 70, 80% of the market transactions happen off market. You never even hear about it. That, that 20 unit apartment community that you drive by every day to work, for years, and always fantasizing about owning that asset. You hear it got a new owner, somebody bought it, and you never even heard about it, and you're kicking yourself for it. Okay. I'm going to explain to you how to start getting into the sphere of commercial real estate brokers and exactly what to say and how to approach that relationship and build that relationship. So, without further ado, I'm actually going to share my screen and show you exactly how I do this. This is how I do it with my when I'm breaking into new markets. All right. So I'm just going to go over LoopNet. LoopNet and Cruxy are very similar platforms. So you got LoopNet here, loopnet.com. All right. So let's just say we're looking for a multifamily property in Rochester, New York. All right. So you might be asking right now, well, why are you taking me to the trash bin of commercial real estate deals? The reason why I'm bringing you here is so you can actually see which brokers are active in whatever product space this is, right? This is not, okay, you're going to find a deal out of this. This is to find a relationship. That's the key to this whole thing. And the best way to find brokers that are active in the space is to seeing properties they couldn't sell, right? So there's filters on here that you can use in terms of deal size and that sort of thing. So if you're in a major metropolitan area and there is a ton of product out there for small multifamily, then you can bring the criteria down on this, right? Right now we're seeing there's 13 results in the entire Rochester metropolitan area. All right, so there's not really a lot that we're going to need to do in terms of scrubbing and filtering and that sort of thing. So this is what we're gonna do. All right, this is a location looks interesting. All right, so it's a little bit on the small side. But we're going to take a look at it. All right. So we are going to take a look and let me see here. I'm not signed in right now. So this might be the reason why it says research in process. So let's go back. Let's see if this happens again. Let's go over to here with the strong neighborhood here. Okay, now let's select this. All right, cool. So here we have two properties that are offered here. Again, a smaller deal. This is just a training exercise here, right? All right. So when you go on the website, you're going to see, all right, power broker, Jacob Rivera. And you're going to see the option to either message or call them. All right. What I like to do is I like to call them. Me being a former commercial real estate broker, I had listings that are on LoopNet, and it drove me nuts when you go to this message right here. Okay. You put your information in here, and then this is the auto-populated message right here, right? I would like to learn more about it. I would get hundreds of these a week, all right, from tire kickers. I never, once in a blue moon, I would have somebody call me and actually talk to me about the deal. This puts you in a competitive advantage, and brokers' inboxes are flooded with these, messages and that sort of thing. So I prefer to call the broker and strike up a conversation with them about it. Right. So that being said, this is, a location that I like. I don't think this is a deal size that I would like. So it doesn't really matter. Right. If it somewhat meets the criteria that you're looking for, right? If you're looking for a 40-unit deal and you come across a 10-unit deal, why would I want to call that broker? It's not something that's interesting to me. Okay. You see how little amount of inventory is out there that's actually on this website. Check Cruxy as well, CREXI.com. It's because a lot of transactions happen off market. They don't happen here. So you want to see who the players are in the marketplace and begin to make contact with them. All right. So I call them up. And how this conversation goes is I say, hey, Jake, this is Matt Druin with such and such company. I saw your listing on 1698 Mount Hope. Is that property still available? The reason why I ask that is because I never want to make an assumption that it's, that it's, still available or whatever, right? And if they say yes or no or whatever, they say yes, I'm going to ask them, what's the story with the deal, right? This is the first question you ask in regard to the property. The thing that used to drive me nuts was I'd list a property and I know when I was dealing with a residential investor that knew enough to be dangerous, watching a bunch of, going to YouTube University about commercial real estate and that sort of thing. And the first question they asked me is, what's the cap rate? Don't do that, right? That's a newbie move. So brokers like to tell the story of a property. So I asked them, what's the story? What's the story with the deal? All right. And they're going to go on a whole they may even go down the rabbit hole a little bit. on on the thing. Well, the property owner ownership group bought it, 10 years ago. They renovated this, and the other thing. And, they're looking to transition into some larger deals or migrate outside the market and blah, 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 blah. All right, this gives me some opportunity, and it's an open-ended question, right? So I like to ask open-ended questions with people that I'm looking to build relationships with, not questions that result in a yes or no, right? What's the cap rate? 8%. End of story. Okay. Another question that I ask is, um, are they motivated to sell, or are they open to accepting a lower price? All right. Listen, you got to date a little bit before you kind of get it going there. That's got to be some little bit of conversation foreplay. So I'm gonna get the story in the property. I'm gonna ask follow-up questions. I would ask a question like, if is there any type of upside in the property? Are rents below market in your opinion? What do you think the highest and best use is for the property? All of that type of stuff. You want to get an assessment of like the talking about the property, not necessarily the financials up front. And then when you start talking about the property here, and this is, some conversational volley, this builds a relationship value with this person you never talked to in your entire life before, right? So there's value in that. Then at some point in time, you say, all right, excellent. You've answered all my questions. I'm still interested in taking a closer look at it. Do you have an offering memorandum you could send over to me, so I could take a look at this deal and make heads or tails of it and give you some feedback on it? So the other thing too is that if this is a property that is really too small for you, like this property would be way too small for us, be upfront about it, right? You don't want to say, "Hey, I want to waste your time. This is not something I'm interested in at all. Send me the offering memorandum because I'm just going to ghost you afterwards." Like that's not what you want to say, right? Um, you want to be clear and upfront with, "Hey, I love the location. Isn't quite, I'm not sure if it's quite our cup of tea, but I like the location and see if there might be some opportunity here and so on and so forth." Just so it's managing the expectation of, hey, I'm out here, I'm interested in the property, it's in a great location, blah, 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 blah. So as to not, completely, waste their time and be not truthful about it. Um, Secondly, they're going to send you over probably what's called a CA, confidentiality agreement, or an NDA, or non-disclosure agreement, all right, to sign off on first before they'll give you a full offering memorandum, right? And when you request the offer memorandum, if you can also request, these are, two important documents, right? Is the rent roll, if it's an occupied property, right? And then also, and a rent roll is basically a list of units, what the bedroom count is, square footage, depending upon asset class, whether it's industrial or whatever, and the contract rent amount and security deposit, let's say. All right, and then the financials. Okay. Broker might have the financials in the actual offering memorandum itself, or they might have historical financials or actual financials and that sort of thing, right? So have them send that over to you, return the CA to them, and then get to analyzing the deal. Even if it's not your cup of tea, what you want to do is go through and analyze the deal. Take it through underwriting, and then get back to the broker with feedback. If it's something that's like somewhat interesting to you but severely overpriced, then request to go walk the property with them, right? Call them back in short order. Don't let this thing go over for weeks. We're used to getting calls that people ask for an offering memorandum, and then we follow up, and then they just ghost us. They don't return our phone calls, emails, or whatever. It's annoying. All right, don't be that person. Remember, you're trying to build the KLT factor, the know, like, and trust factor. All right, you don't want to start off on the wrong foot. Reactivity is very important. Right, knowing that you're active in the space, not taking weeks to get back to them and that sort of thing. So make the time. All right, to get back to them. Then when you get back to them with feedback, if it's something that you want to walk, go walk it with them. This is really, really powerful to build relationships. 9 times out of 10, the property isn't going to be your cup of tea, and you don't want to waste the broker's time in walking it with them because it will never work. It's too small, whatever. Okay. But what you want to do in terms of a follow-up is, hey, listen, this isn't really what I'm looking for. I, thought about it further. Seems like a great opportunity for someone, but it's really just not, what we're, looking for right now. Do you mind if we got together? I see you're active in this space. Do you mind if we get together so I can tell you a little bit about my background and what our company's looking for our next acquisitions? Whether it's lunch or coffee or whatever, that would be great, right? Most of the time, brokers are open to these things, right? Just an open meeting, get to know each other. Just as important as the story is important with the deal, the story is important to you as a buyer as well, or prospective buyer. Okay. Because essentially they're working with a sophisticated seller or a cooperating broker that's a listing agent on the other side. They want to be able to tell your story as well, right? That they know you. You're active in the space. You have experience. You have you own properties in X location, blah, 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 blah. All right. And then after that meeting, what you want to do is, well, actually not after the meeting, but during the meeting, you want to talk about your background, your experience, where you're looking to graduate to next, and where you want to swim upstream into, and being very, very specific of what you want, right? I'm looking for a 20 to 40 unit apartment building that has, brick siding and pitched roof in the locations of, Penfield, Webster, Pittsford, and Fairport. All right. The more specific that you can get, then that actually engages the reticular activation system within that person's mind. This assigns an anchor point in their mind to what you're looking for. The thing that drove me nuts is when I was meeting with, for coffee or lunch with real estate investors, I asked, like, well, what are you looking for? Like, what's in your buy box? I hate that term too, but what's in your buy box? And they would say, we're open. We're looking for anything that makes sense. So if I get a listing agreement signed for a 20 to 40 unit, brick pitched roof apartment building in, Brighton, Penfield, whatever suburb you are in any town, USA, I'm not going to think of you, right? I'm going to think about that person that actually had that. And furthermore, when there's a high degree of specificity in terms of what the ask is and what the buyer's looking for, then they're more apt to think of you in regard to any deal that comes across their desk, because they have an anchor point in your mind. They're not this vacuous concept of anything that makes sense. So this is actually how I've had brokers send me deals that in no world would be, in my buy box, so to speak, but they thought of me, right? And so also, you can't just meet with a broker and just think that they're just going to think of you 2 years later when they get a listing agreement signed, or, find another property that's cooperating with an off market with another real estate broker. You have to keep in regular contact with them. You don't need to be annoying about it. You can vary up the actual communication channel with them. What I love to do is I'll just like to shoot them a text message once in a while. Hey, Jake, I saw this article in the Rochester Business Journal. I thought of you. What are you seeing? What are you seeing out there? Give me a call. Give me a call. Let's catch up, right? Or sending them an email, or just calling them out of the blue, right? Starting the conversation with, "Hey, I thought of you," is those are magical words, in terms of like, I remembered you, right? You don't have to be overly aggressive. Remember, they don't work for you; they work for themselves. So this whole thing of like, I'm an investor, I'm a vampire. Give me what I want because I'm an investor and I have cash, I have investors, all this stuff. This is not how they work. All right. So don't treat them that way. Be respectful of that, for them being a professional, and that relationship will grow. And then just put them on a calendar in terms of regular follow-up. You don't have to call them every week or anything like that, but get in touch with them once or twice a month, right? In different types of ways, whether it's an email, text message, or phone call to catch up. So this is hope this was helpful in terms of this training on working this deal source, and then just do this across to that market, right? You can go over here, right? The 19th ward of Rochester, right? Go in there and do the same thing with Jason Mancuso over here. All right. Until you've really talked with a lot of movers and shakers and worked this in the market. You don't need to talk to 100 brokers out there, right? But these are the ones that are active in the space. Perfect. All right, I'm done. Just a synopsis of what we're covering next. We're going to talk about how to utilize your relationships with other investors to have them be your partners in getting deal flow. Sounds counterintuitive. They're my competition. Why would they ever want to think of me? Believe me, I've gotten amazing smoking hot deals from other investors, right? So I'm going to go over specifically how to intentionally work those relationships to enhance your deal flow. And then after that, I'm going to go over direct to seller strategies that I use and you've used in the past that's worked for me. So hope you enjoy. Definitely reach out if you have any questions and make it a great day. And I'm going to stop recording right now.